The Evergreen Media Network Studio, powered by Scott Tree Services.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi there and welcome everyone. I can't say enough. The summer is proving very interesting with storms, with politics, with weather, with you name it. But let's get down to brass tacks. I know there's a lot going on, but right now it's all up in the air whether Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee or not. And I'm saying it really doesn't matter a whole lot at this point. It may be important regarding Democratic senator and House elections. I'm not sure. But it really doesn't matter in terms of voting for president. Why? Because the entire current policy of both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are very different, and they're not all determined by one man or another man. It is the entire policy. Let's look first at the Democratic Party. Whether Biden is in or not, I don't even want to discuss it. It's up to the electorate in primaries, and it's also up to the Democratic Party to use their influence. And whatever will happen, will happen. The reason I'm asking a lot of you to vote differently this election is I see very definitely the democracy that we've had for the last 250 years plus is changing and may even be totally different, may even be totally socialist. The reason for this is all three sections of government, the executive, the judicial, or Congress, I should say, and the Senate. All three of those are checks and balances. Remember, human beings all make mistakes. There's not one perfect person. There's not one perfect party. But that doesn't make everything bad. That's not an excuse to saying, oh, what's the difference? Or for someone to think, I'm going to just stay at home this time. That is wrong. Very wrong. You've really got to take a look at policies. From day number one of 3.5 years ago, the policy of the Democratic Party was an open border. Some moderate Democrats and Republicans, too, was sort of in favor of that. Maybe we'll get a larger work base of employment and the country will be better equipped and wealthier. That is a possibility or was a possibility, but what has turned out happening in 3.5 years is not only good people come across who are looking for the better life, and I respect that, and I respect their willingness to swim across the river of the Rio Grande and walk miles and miles and miles and ride on top of trains, very uncomfortable, for hours and hours. I'm not belittling that. I respect it. But what I don't respect is no vetting, people being let out of jails and mental institutions in other countries to clean house and send them over here. And I don't need to tell you, hardly 2 or 3 days, if that long, go by without an illegal somewhere killing someone. And the one that stuck in my mind was this guy that killed a 12-year-old in Texas. And he said, look, where I grew up in Venezuela, we were actually taught to kill police. And if someone else or a bystander, whether a child, whether an adult, was in the way, it was okay. That was collateral damage, but we've got to kill the police. Now, it is absolutely ridiculous to say people like that should be admitted to this country and it's good for the country. Of course it is not. So what I'm saying is closing the borders, which right now is part of the Republican platform, is a positive thing. And that's why so many independents and even Democrats, without changing their party affiliation, are going to vote Republican this time. We're talking policy, not people. Closing the border is one thing. What about all this inflation? The rate is going down, but inflation is not going down. It's 3% above the 20% extreme that we all tolerated the last 3 years. We're talking 25, and in some areas, especially food, you're talking almost a 30% inflation. That's not going down. And we're eliminating what made this country great. Not only a working class or a 2-income working scenario, but even middle, and upper middle class. We're the only country that has that. Most countries have extreme wealth and extreme poverty and very little in the middle. What makes us successful is the middle is the majority. No matter what the income level, your income can go up or down depending on your ambition, your education, and your opportunity. And no one has decided for you on picking your lot in life, and you can't do any better. That is what makes this country great. So inflation isn't so much hurting the wealthy people, and it hurts the poverty a little bit in the sense that their coupons and government assistance can't buy what it used to buy, but it is very much hitting the middle class. Why? Not only food, in addition to that, we have $1.50 or more increase in gasoline. And for 2 people driving to work, that is a big expense with 2 cars and 2 gasoline tanks full of gas. So we're voting on policy, not a person or 2 or 3 persons of either party. That's how most moderate Republicans, Democrats, and independents are voting. We need to know what's best for the country. Far-right Republicans are no good. We've tried that, and I'm glad they were voted out. Way back with McCain and Sarah Palin and this Tea Party formation, where there would be no abortions whatsoever, not even for rape and incest. All these extremes have got to be eliminated, at least from ruling the country. They can have their influence and their opinions at the right time. That's what democracy is, but not ruling it to the point of eliminating everything else. What personally bothers me the most, and should bother all of you the most, is the current left of the Democratic Party is trying to make it a one system, one party government. That is the elimination of democracy, if nothing else is. Like I said earlier, Democrats make mistakes, Republicans make mistakes, independents make mistakes, but with a check and balance and all of us discussing issues together and coming up with a compromise in some cases, both the Democrats and Republicans agree. In some cases, Democrats and Republicans disagree. That is okay. That is a democracy getting everything out in the open. What bothers me is when the Supreme Court decision, which is one of our checks and balances, came out a few weeks ago. Guess what? AOC didn't like it. The far left didn't like it. They want to stock the Supreme Court with additional members, all Democrats, and instead of the Supreme Court being an objective form of government, making a decision on what the Constitution says, not what any one party says or does, but what makes the Constitution enforceable. That is an important check and balance, both for Republicans and Democrats. There are times the Republicans are wrong, and there are times now when they're trying to destroy the three sections of government, basically into making everything be a one-party system, is wrong. This started with Hillary Clinton not too many years ago, certainly within the decade, when every single Republican she called a deplorable, every single Democrat was fabulous, even if they couldn't speak English, read or write, or know what they were doing, or may have been collecting welfare for 3 or 4 generations of families. Things like that are wrong. There is no one good, one bad party. And it started with that, and Biden continued it when he ran in 2020. He said every single black person who votes Republican is not a black person. That is utterly ridiculous. They know when they lived better. They know when they lived worse. They know when they were struggling. They know when they were doing well. And educated, not educated, no matter what nationality you are, everybody feels those differences. And that's what they're voting on in this election. Let's not get mixed up on who's good and who's bad. We have good and bad on both parties that I cannot say enough. None of them are perfect, and nowhere near it. But for the sake of our country, to get the middle class strong again, really strong, and working and being able to be proud and put some money away for a rainy day or a joyous vacation, that is how the American dream is built. And we've got to make sure to preserve that. Not having the majority of people poor to poor working class and everyone else in the middle class being eliminated, not eliminating the wealthy. We've got to have all different classes and incomes of people, but the majority has to be middle class and solid middle class. who can afford vacations, afford education for their kids, afford a house, and afford a good time with families and friends. That is as close to the American dream as you can get. And it needs to be the majority of our people once again, forever. And that is why everyone is moving over. You're not voting for any one person in an election. You're not voting for Donald Trump and no one else. You're not voting for Biden and no one else. You're voting for an entire cabinet, party, senators, congressmen. This is what we are voting for, and every single one of them is important. Please, people, I want to see more people voting than ever, and I want to see more people using their heads when it comes to November 5th. We want a good country, not a Venezuela, not a third world country, and not a country in poverty after doing our best for helping the entire world. We need to put things in perspective. We don't have a bottomless pocketbook where we can keep giving to everyone else, especially by doing nothing but printing money. That is asking for disaster down the road, and every financier knows that, and every one of you listening should know that too. This is not a monopoly country where we can print more money and never run out of it. Now, we have to take a couple of minutes off, but there is a lot more I want to tell you. Let's all stick together and do what's good for the country. And stay with me, and we'll take a brief break while we hear from our sponsors. Stay with us. I want to introduce you to our main sponsor, Highland Plaza, located on US 1 on the east side of the Highland Drive traffic light. We even have our own left-hand turn lane. One of the places in there, the first one on the north side, is Easy Stop, and you will be surprised what competitive and beautiful prices they have. You should give it a shot. Also, Tony's Hairstyling Salon is ideal for the entire family at all ages. He and his wife have run a salon there for years with a huge following. Also, we want to tell you about La Taberna Restaurant. It has the freshest Mexican food in town and a well-experienced chef. You will be most surprised not only by the food, but the reasonable prices. Also, I want to tell you about the nail salon. It's Luxury Nails. Let me tell you, they do everything, both for walk-in clients and appointments. Appointments are really appreciated, but they treat all clients professionally. Now, I want to repeat to you, this is located on US 1, just east of Highland Drive at the traffic light. It's a beautiful yellow building with a maroon awning. We look forward to seeing you there. Come on over.
It's hurricane season. Prune your trees now with Scott Tree Services. Strengthen your trees against high winds and remove broken limbs that could cause damage. Don't get nervous. Call Scott Tree Services.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens, Hollywood, and Kingsley Bate. We specialize in fire bits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a super summer sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture.
Sturgis Lumber is the county's most trusted hardware store. Sturgis stocks stainless steel products, power tools, construction and painting supplies, propane, plumbing, and electrical parts. 4645 US 1 Vero Beach, Sturgis Lumber and Hardware.
Well, hi there and welcome back. I just can't say enough. I'm not asking any of you to change parties. I'm not asking any of you to not be Republican, not be Democratic, or not be independent. You can keep your party affiliations because I believe in at least two parties, nothing less. What I am asking is how everybody should vote this one election. Vote on policies, not who's in, because both Republicans and Democrats have very different objectives, both internationally and domestically at home. And please vote for the policies in this election, what is going to be best for you. That I can't emphasize that enough. And also, when we see many of these illegals where 2 or 3 days don't go by without an illegal killing some innocent person who doesn't even have a gun, let alone law enforcement people. And when we see all these young people, the future of America, with an uncontrolled open border, with fentanyl killing hundreds of thousands of innocent people who think they're eating an M&M every single year, that is wrong. We need to really get rid of that and get rid of the drug cartels that right now the Democratic Party is ignoring while they make their money and get all this money off the books, and they're actually giving fentanyl to people to kill them. Not to mention the sex trafficking, not to mention all the killing. We could go on and on with this. All I know is that it's got to stop. And vote for a policy of a closed border. That doesn't mean no one coming in. It means people who want to come to the United States can still come, but they need to apply and be vetted, not just jails being emptied out. Please, people, vote for the right policies. I want to see the United States continue, not disappear. What bothers me the most is when AOC said, oh, I'm going to stuff the Supreme Court with more justices. She doesn't want the Constitution obeyed. She wants a branch of government to vote for everything that she wants. That's a dictatorship. That's not a democracy. Please, folks, when you all go to the poll and all vote properly, and let's make this election a landslide in the right direction. Have a good week, and come back next week. There will be all different topics. Have a good one.